The latest in GTA Online DLC rumors and leaks is actually somewhat interesting. As you can tell from the title, according to some of the major leakers, the next DLC is going to be a Hipster DLC 2.0. So in this video, we'll be talking about that and seeing what Rockstar could actually put in that sort of DLC. Starting from the beginning yesterday, FunMW2 posted this. He goes, the Retinue and the Rapid GT Classic are the latest vehicles added to Smuggler's Run in terms of development process. Take a moment, think about it, look at Yan's banner on Twitter, and continue to think about it. And then if we take a look at Yan's banner on Twitter, it's the artwork from the I'm Not a Hipster update. And then another thing that Yan posted was in response to if he knew anything about upcoming vehicles in the next DLC. He said, just because you don't know something doesn't mean nobody knows. So by saying that, he's sort of implying that he knows something that no one else does. Now, a Hipster 2.0 DLC. First off, why would this be coming to the game? That's really, I guess, the main question that I'm sure everyone is asking. One, I think it would be refreshing, especially after all the military and armed vehicle DLCs. It would be nice to have something different. It'd be a nice change of pace. The only thing that I'm sort of questioning, when the Hipster DLC came out, it wasn't bad, but it was by no means super liked by the community. Really, the only reason people did like it was because it released like 11 cars, which at the time was a lot, and they were relatively inexpensive. Now, since 2015, every year-end update in GTA Online has consisted of really expensive stuff. We had the yachts, the offices or the office garages, the import-export stuff, right? So following that trend, this year's end of the year DLC will hopefully have something super expensive and super good. And if you think about what's possible in GTA Online, there's not much left that they could add. Really, the only major property that could be a big ticket item are mansions. So perhaps in this DLC, we get mansions. But the thing is, if it is a Hipster 2.0 DLC, mansions would kind of defeat the purpose or the theme of the DLC. Hipsters was all about not spending a lot of money. So having mansions, that just wouldn't make sense unless they just completely name it something different, and maybe it's just like a spiritual successor in that it has similar items and cars, but the prices are nowhere near the same as the first one. That could be what happens here. But that is another thing to think about. I guess when you think of a Hipster, or at least when I think of a Hipster 2.0 DLC, I'm expecting sort of vintage stuff or retro items. And there are a number of retro and vintage cars, vehicles, weapons, properties, and stuff that they could add to the game. I mean, cars right off the bat, the Deluxo. That's one that I and many other people have been wanting for a while. That would totally fit. They could add a Vapid Dominator Classic, a Jester Classic, a bunch of classic cars that people have been wanting. And look, if they want to get crazy, they could take the Deluxo, for example, and make it a special vehicle by having it weaponized and maybe even have it hovering because it's based off of the DeLorean, which in Back to the Future, I think, hovered. So they could do some really crazy stuff with the vehicles, and they could add some stuff that people have wanted, like the JB700. And they're not just limited to sports classic cars. Maybe they do some old school sport cars like the LG Retro Custom or like the Comet Retro Custom that can hang with the new sports cars. So there's, some balance there and some competitiveness, and they're Benny's vehicles. There's some interesting ideas that could be done with this sort of Hipster 2.0 DLC. Now, one thing that this DLC could bring is better clothing. A few months ago, there was a pretty major article on Kotaku that says frustrated GTA Online players want much better clothing for women. And it went into a bunch of detail on it. So maybe Rockstar caught wind of that and they're like, okay, let's start making some better clothing for the characters. So that's a possibility. In the little tease on the Newswire a couple weeks ago, when Rockstar mentioned there's going to be another DLC coming this year, they did mention properties and not businesses or business properties. Now, I'm not saying businesses aren't going to be in this DLC because Rockstar like to bundle them up or package businesses in every DLC, it seems. But maybe this DLC is a DLC without a business. And the properties, like I said, could be the mansions, or it could be, you know, houses along the beach or in the Mirror Park area. It is just sort of interesting how Rockstar worded that little tease. Now, if there were businesses, because like I said, they're not out of the question, because they could still be added. One of the most logical business opportunities could be a nightclub. I think that would fit with somewhat of a hipster style DLC. And people have been wanting nightclubs for a while, so maybe Rockstar finally listening to that and adding that to the game. You guys can let me know in the comment section what you think about this rumor or this leak. If they were to do a Hipster 2.0 DLC, what would you want in it? And what do you think is most likely to happen? Personally, I think that what they're trying to hint toward is not really an actual successor to the Hipster DLC. Like, it's not going to be called Hipster 2.0. I just think that they're trying to say the upcoming DLC is going to be more of a retro or a vintage DLC, which I think would be nice. Like I said, it would be a nice change of pace. So let me know in the comments what you think. Please drop the video a like if you did enjoy. Subscribe for more awesome GTA content. If I learn anything else or anything new, I will let you guys know. But as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.